Here are the reasons why I'm heavily focused on ZBCN and as well as XCN as of right now. Reason number one, even though nothing I say is financial advice, is because they're pretty much focused on the same markets, global trading finance and the payments market when it comes to the ZBIC network and as well as Onyx Coin. But then at the same time, when it comes to their market cap, it's kind of similar. And I think maybe their ceiling is a little bit almost the same. Let me explain why. Because let's say, ZBCN went to the price of 10 cents, considering current circulating supply market cap nearly $9 billion, around a 23.5x from here. I think that market cap right there isn't too ridiculous. I don't think it's too much to ask for in the grand scheme of things. I mean, that's not even 10% of XRP's current market cap, and we've seen Dogecoin exceed this by over 70 billion back in 2021, so it doesn't seem that outlandish to me. But then at the same time, it doesn't seem like too low either, where it's like, a $1 billion market cap or something like that. So I kind of think that it's not such a ridiculous figure. However, at the same time, if we take a look at XCN going to the price of 25 cents hypothetically, that's around a 15x from here. Again, slightly less than the 23.5x that ZBCN would have at the price of 10 cents. But then again, XCN does have a higher market cap than ZBCN, around $200 million more. But even besides that, at the price of 25 cents, XCN, considering current circulating supply, market cap at that point is around 8.5 billion. Again, I don't think it's too much to ask for in the grand scheme of things. Like I mentioned before, that's not even 10% of XRP's current market cap. So I kind of think that these two projects, they're kind of unique, they're kind of similar, they give me the same type of vibes, pretty much focus on the same markets, global trade finance and the payments market. Not to mention, they're kind of viewed as alternatives beyond XRP and XLM. They both have a very dedicated community, good following, good exchange listings, and also, as a project each individually, they're sometimes viewed as in the same regard. So I do really want to focus on this. And I think both of them are in a very unique position because if we take a look at Ripple, we take a look at Stellar, of course, those are like, the top two within the markets that they're focused on, right? The payments market, global trade and finance. But then if we take a look at beyond that, of course, XCN, ZBCN, but there's XPR, Swiftcoin, and as well as XDC. So that's actually not that many in the grand scheme of things. And if I take a look at Onyx and as well as ZBIC, kind of viewed as in the same regard, why would I not believe in both? I believe in this space, right? So then why would I not arguably believe in one of the top alternatives beyond XRP and XLM? This is just my mentality. Not to mention, some people like to say, oh, you only have to choose one. But then the thing is, I don't want to do that because, in my opinion, even historically, I've seen that ZBCN and XCN, they kind of had their rally at a different time. Like, for instance, ZBCN had that rally a little bit later than XCN. XCN had that rally, a lot sooner than ZBCN. And then, of course, there was a pullback. And then at that time, ZBCN went up. So then, in my opinion, during a fully fledged type of altcoin season, who knows which one is going to do its move first. So then, by being in both, the way you take a look at it is that I don't think it's such a bad thing. Not to mention, when I take a look at something like ZBCN, some people like to say, oh, the exchange listings aren't that good, but then it's not too far off when it comes to XCN. I think they're both kind of unique. In my opinion, ZBCN and XCN, they kind of give me like a XRP and XLM type of vibe, where it's kind of like they're both kind of viewed as in tandem, so to speak, because a lot of people that I know out there that primarily believe in XRP, they also hold XLM. I kind of treat this kind of like the same thing. It's kind of like those people who get Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is kind of like the tandem that I have right here. It's like the Batman and the Robin, right? I believe in both ZBCN and XCN. Now, some people out there may think that, okay, Onyx, it seems a little bit more simple than ZBCN, but then the market cap is bigger. And I'll agree with that because if we take a look at Onyx, they're focused on Goliath, but then we're still waiting for the mainnet in Q1 of next year, right? So that's still kind of a while, and Goliath is allegedly this supposed day one blockchain that could be good for the world of finance. We'll have to wait and see about that though. But they're planning to launch the testnet in Q3 of this year. So there's a lot of unanswered questions. Not to mention Onyx, they say that Onyx V2 is coming soon. They're going to be, more so, I think, kind of compliant or more so focused on compliance, I would say, through something like that. Again, we'll have to wait and see because it is coming soon. The wallet, we'll have to wait and see as well. So when I take a look at something like Zebic though, which when it comes to the cards, right, we've already seen what the Zebic cards did with Bonk, very popular Solana-based meme coin. We see what, you know, the Zebic cards did with Algorand. We take a look at how when it comes to Zebic, one of their backers is Circle, which is the creator of USDC, the stablecoin, and also Solana Ventures. So that's pretty impressive. And also, when it comes to Zebic, right, something that they acquired called GateKnox, the founder of that is working towards ISO 20022 compliance when it comes to Zebic. So then in the grand scheme of things, it may feel like Zebic is kind of, I think, a little bit more established than Onyx in terms of the fundamentals. But then the thing is, XCN had that rally first because a lot of people thought that it was kind of an alternative beyond XRP and XLM. So then we saw that initial rally, and I think later on people moved on to ZBCN to a certain extent. Just not only those XCN holders, but I think also other people too kind of viewed Zebic as probably this alternative as well. So I totally understand that when it comes to, something like Onyx, it may have more simple fundamentals despite XCN having a higher market cap. But then that's just kind of how it is sometimes in this space, right? Not every single project out there that has the best fundamentals will necessarily have, a better market cap than something that doesn't. So in my opinion, it's kind of difficult to predict, the exact trends people will believe in, even though they're both in the exact same markets. But so far, they've gone on to do pretty well. So that's why I still just want to be in both. And just kind of, for me, the way I view it is that what's wrong with that, right? I just don't see why it's such a bad thing if I believe in both. And I'm really focused on it because the way I take a look at it is that if this space does gain a lot of attention, we've seen historically what both ZBCN and XCN did without much attention for the altcoin space. They both had that rally. It felt like kind of out of nowhere without much sentiment regarding, altcoins or something like that. And they still did that. So if there is a fully fledged type of altcoin season, I want to believe in both. But with over 600 million crypto owners as of right now, the way I view it is that why would I not stay patient and wait? That's pretty much it. Usually altcoins, as a worst case scenario, they typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. That would actually mean around October this year based on the last one, back in April of last year. So if let's say the market conditions were maybe better, would we see the peak of an altcoin season as a worst case scenario maybe this time around anyways, based off that example? Maybe not. So why would I just give up like that? It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm still going to stay patient. Now that October date totally depends on what's going to happen. Like, that's not a guarantee. It could happen later, whatever the case may be. Maybe Q1 of next year, who knows? But I just want to be in two projects that I really do like. I like the fundamentals. I like how they're kind of viewed as in the same regard, focus on the same markets. They both don't really have that many direct competitors. And they both have a good community, both have a good following, both have a very good fan base. It's a no-brainer for me. So this is why I'm holding both ZBCN and XCN. And this is why I'm choosing both. I like both. And I think they both have good fundamentals. And I'm still very excited of what they can maybe do moving forward. However, only time will tell. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I would greatly appreciate it. It's Willie the Captain, and I'll catch you all in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.